Hello dear students. Today we are going to learn Science Chapter 8, Materials and Solutions. So without any further delay, let's begin. In this chapter, we will explore the amazing world of different materials around us. We will learn how to differentiate between substances that dissolve in liquids and those that do not with simple daily life examples. We will also understand three important terms: solute, solvent, and solution, and see how they work together to form a solution. Not just that, we will even learn how to make a solution ourselves using a given solute and solvent. And finally, we will discover different methods like sedimentation, filtration, and evaporation which help us to separate substances. So get ready to observe, think, and enjoy learning with fun examples. If you look around, everything you see is made of matter. We define matter as anything that occupies space and has mass. Take water for example. It is a liquid that takes the shape of whatever container you put it in. But did you know water is a master of disguise? It exists in three states: ice, water, and water vapor. Matter doesn't always stay the same. It can change states depending on the temperature. Melting. When we heat a solid, like ice, it turns into a liquid. Freezing. When we cool a liquid, it turns into a solid. Evaporation. When we heat a liquid, it turns into a gas. Condensation. When we cool a gas, it turns back into a liquid. When we put things in water, two things can happen. If a substance dissolves completely, like sugar or salt, we call it soluble. If it does not dissolve and settles at the bottom, like sand, we call it insoluble. Let's learn three important S words. The substance that dissolves is the solute. The liquid it dissolves in is the solvent. When they mix together, they form a solution. Because water can dissolve so many different things, we call it the universal solvent. Inside a liquid, the particles aren't packed tightly, so the solute particles simply slide into the spaces between the solvent particles. If you're in a hurry to make your lemonade, there are three tricks to make a solute dissolve faster: powdering the solute, warming the solvent, and stirring the mixture well. Solids aren't the only things that dissolve. Some liquids mix perfectly, like lemon juice and water. We call these miscible. Others, like oil and water, refuse to mix and stay in separate layers. We call these immiscible. Even gases can dissolve in liquids. That's what makes fizzy drinks bubbly. If we have muddy water, how do we clean it? First, we can use sedimentation, where we let the heavy mud, the sediment, settle at the bottom. Then, we use decantation to carefully pour out the clear liquid, the supernatant, from the top. To be even cleaner, we use filtration. By pouring the mixture through a filter, like filter paper or a strainer, the solid residue stays behind, and the clean liquid, called the filtrate, passes through. But what if the solid is dissolved, like salt in seawater? We can't filter it out. Instead, we use evaporation. By heating the solution, the liquid turns to vapor and disappears into the air, leaving the solid solute behind as a deposit. Alright class, here we've reached the end of our chapter on materials and solutions. To help you remember everything for your review, let's look at the concept map at the end of your books together. Think of this as the family tree of everything we've learned. First, look at the far left branch. Types of substances. We learned that matter, which is anything that takes up space and has mass, can be divided into two groups when we put it or mix it in water. If it disappears and mixes in, like salt or sugar, it is soluble. If it just sits there and refuses to mix, like sand or chalk, it is insoluble. Now, let's move to the heart of the chart: solutions. Remember, A solution is a combination of two substances. The substance that dissolves is the solute, and the liquid it dissolves in is the solvent. Since water can dissolve so many things, what do we call it? That's right, the universal solvent. Our map shows us that solutions aren't just sugar water. They can be solid in solid, like the copper mixed into gold to make your jewelry strong. Liquid in liquid, like the lemon juice in your lemonade. Gas in liquid, like the carbon dioxide that makes your soda fizzy. Speaking of liquids mixing, look at the liquid in liquid branch. If they get along and mix perfectly, like milk and water, they are miscible. But if they stay apart and form layers, like oil and water, they are immiscible. Finally, the most important part, methods of separation. How do we get our materials back? If we have an insoluble solid, like mud in water, we have two choices. We can use sedimentation and decantation to let the heavy dirt settle and pour the water out, or we can use filtration to catch the dirt in a filter paper net. But what if the solid is soluble, like salt? We can't filter it because it's hidden in the spaces between the water particles. So, we use evaporation. We heat it up, the water turns to vapor and leaves the salt behind as a residue. So, whether you're making tea or watching the sun dry up a puddle, you are seeing science in action. I hope you enjoyed learning this chapter today. Visit our channel Smarty Seeds Academy for more informative and interesting videos for the ICSE syllabus. See you in the next lesson.